All right, we are back. We are in Premier Division Group A, Week 1. We've got Tatanka versus Tosh coming here, best of 5. Let's hop into it. All right, spawning in the middle of the map, Big Pimp and Tosh, and in the bottom, Tatanka. Tatanka, again, really strong meta composition here. I think the moles are generally more used than the lizards, but some players like the lizards in that slot instead. I've seen Sasha do it. I enjoy playing with lizards myself. Generally, though, I'm still too afraid to completely give up the moles, so I'll go like squirrel, mole, and lizard. Tosh, though, being typical crazy Tosh here, 3 tier 3. Squirrel pigeon. No moles from Tatanka make me a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I believe a little bit more in what Tosh is trying to do. You know, since Tatanka doesn't have the moles, then he can't really just try to break Tosh, because Tosh's weakness is the lack of tier 2, obviously. Pretty bare bones early game deck from Tosh. Tosh really wants to get into a big economy and start playing with all the big toys. It's not impossible for Tatanka to break him by any means. I mean, he's still got Squizzard and Cam, right? You don't need moles to be aggressive, but they certainly help. So Tosh coming for a fast expo. Gonna cover it up with a bunch of tier 1. I think he's just fine. Map does look better for Tosh. Tatanka gets a second base, and that's about it. Tosh gets 3 bases pretty easily. Pimp Chad deck. It is a Chad deck, 100%. And then this base in the middle, probably not relevant. Okay. Tatanka's kind of in a similar spot that like Cactus was in the previous games, where you gotta get some damage on here. Tosh is pulling ahead in eco, and these lizards are gonna trade a little more cost effectively than the squirrels. And uh-oh, this could snowball very fast. Tosh had the turret. I mean, Tatanka literally came in like, if he waited like 3 or 4 seconds, Tosh would have been totally fine. And that's it. That is the game. Good lord. Yeah, that turret was almost up. But Tatanka, with the good game sense, he knows, okay, my lizards will win this trade, especially because the squirrels don't have any pig cover. And there it is. Nice and fast. Game number 2 here. Alright, spawning in the bottom, we have Tatanka. And up top, Big Pimp and Tosh. Similar deck from Tosh. Tatanka deciding to have a little bit more fun this time. Taking one of his off meta, I guess is a fair way to put it, decks. This looks like a little Tatanka project he's working on, right? This isn't the car he takes to work. This is his 1987 Camaro that he's changing the engine in. But it'd be fun to pull it off. I like the idea of Wolf, Ferret, Balloon. Print F, a famous StarCraft player known for his photon cannon cheesing, actually used to play Tooth and Tail quite a lot, and he would play Wolf, Ferret, Balloon, and it was really, really cool to see. So curious to see if Tatanka can pull something off like that in the modern day. I think Tosh is definitely an opponent to try some stuff that's a little bit crazy like this against, you know. Obviously Tosh's deck is also a little bit bananas. So Tatanka doesn't have to worry about something like a really sweaty, you know, squirrel mole cam, try-hard gamer coming at him. Might have a little bit of room here to experiment. But of course Tatanka doesn't know that. I mean, yeah, you can kind of make that type call from Tosh. Tosh likes to play the game his own way. Doesn't really follow the meta to a T. But you never know. I mean, Tosh could be rocking that squirrel cam mole. Tatanka has no idea what's in Tosh's deck. And both players just ecoing up right now on a minimal amount of tier 1s. Pretty standard stuff. This, in my mind, is like the most textbook way that Tooth and Tail starts. Turret's a little bit defensive here from Tosh. He'll probably sell it soon. I think he just doesn't want to die again, you know, immediately. But I think it's totally fine. And yeah, goes ahead and sells it. Now I'm a little bit worried. No, Tatanka gonna immediately move in right when the turret gets sold. He knows he's got one more tier 1 warren than his opponent. Okay, thank God. Tosh cleans it up this time. It was just, oh man. Even like I try to pride myself on not being, being untiltable, right? I mean, everybody gets mad, but you gotta remember, it's just a game. Just having fun. And mindset is so important in a series, but imagine if Tatanka, did that again, you know? Just barely had enough to snowball another victory before the 3-minute mark. Oh man, even if you are good at not tilting, that would still be difficult to not get a little pissed off. So Tosh going for the woof here. This is a pretty big deal, and Tatanka hasn't scouted it yet. It's going to be a little more difficult to scout with the turrets here in the front. So I like this idea from Tosh. You know, the turrets plus all the tier 3, because tier 3 is way better if your opponent is not ready for it. Tatanka just has no idea, then all of a sudden a wolf shows up. That is brutal. I'm gonna force to sell on these turrets, get a little value there, kill a squirrel every now and then in the stance. But Tosh is ahead a good amount. Not necessarily a good amount, but I think, yeah, he's enjoyed little gaps of being ahead on economy here. So we can take a couple losses. Not the end of the world. Tosh really is just trying to buy time for the wolf, and with the modern wolf, tier 1 is totally okay. Tier 1 gets a pretty strong buff. It lasts a long time. That was one of the major design changes between the previous patch, where Wolf Owl was a little overly dominant. So with the new wolf, it doesn't buff the tier 3 for as long, but the tier 1 get a very long buff. So the Squirrel Wolf comp is going to be great. And it's gonna, I kind of hope Tatanka, Tosh lets those ferrets come out again, and then the lightning squirrels catch up to him real quick. Yeah, just like this. I don't know if that ferret went far enough out. But now Tatanka knows about the wolf. He knows something's up. That's why he built these balloons. And this is a tough position for Tosh, because Tatanka's doing a very good job splitting the map right here. And he's got plenty of gristmills on his side. I mean, the situation's not that dire for Tosh. Tosh does have the space over at the 3 o'clock and the base over at the 10 o'clock that are available. Wolf Badger coming up. Tosh has always been a big Badger boy. Has pretty good Badger micro. But this defense is going to be rough to break. I wonder if it might be better for Tosh to really try to run around, but no, he's going to take the engagement, and I think he's just going to get slaughtered here. Yeah, that's way too many defensive structures. Maybe Tosh didn't quite know how many turrets were there, because some of them are in the shadows, and Tatanka's just going to counterattack, and that is going to be it. GG. Tatanka pulling out a pretty cool defensive style here. Taking the match. Maybe if Tosh would have tried to take the engagement around all the defenses, there was an option to come in from the side. But then you get into a base race situation and all that kind of fun stuff. Plus, you got to remember caster vision, right? Tosh might not have even known about those other paths. So in the left-hand side here, we've got Tosh needing to take a map off Tatanka, who's playing well and has another deck ready to go out of his bag of builds. And this is one of the strongest ways to play tournament matches, in my opinion. Tatanka being able to practice and refine several different playstyles, even if they're not all as high max level power as that most meta deck, but just changing things up. I mean, it's so huge. It kind of reminds me of the Mishi Tatanka finals, where it was the opposite from Tatanka, right? Tatanka was going to play that Wolf Owl style pretty much no matter what, and that allowed Mishi to come up with this kind of knife, you know, backstab, like right in the chink of the armor build that Mishi experimented with to take down that Wolf Owl. But if Tatanka had another deck to pivot to, all of a sudden Mishi's deck that was specifically designed to beat that's not going to work. So there's a lot of kind of mind games like that when it comes to what builds, what decks players choose to use. And when you have the capability to switch things up, like both these players really, I feel like you are just in such a good spot for the best of 5 or best of 7. And we've seen good tournament players do both. I mean, there's also the theory where you could say, like, okay, Squirrel Mole, Cam Falcon, Boar, mine is the best deck. And I'm going to prove it, you know. Go ahead and try to come up with something that's going to beat it. It's not going to work. And sometimes, you know, those approaches can work as well. So quick snakes here from Tosh. Tatanka does scout the tier 2. Tatanka already on a second base economy. But I don't hate this for Tosh. I mean, Tosh has the second base on the way. He's going to have the snakes out, which are going to be fun units to just run around with. I think this map is big and awkward enough to where these snakes can come out and poke and do their little fox impression. You know, the poor man's fox, the Wish version of fox is what this snake could be here in the early game. Really good mines, though. And that snake can... Oh, he's just going to use the snake to tank. That's smart. Oh my god, he needs to let it heal, though. He needs to give it a bath. For those of you who aren't aware, maybe you watched more Tooth and Tail back in the day. In modern Tooth and Tail, you do heal faster in the water than just regularly. You also heal outside of your territory now. I'd imagine at a slower rate than inside your territory, but don't quote me on that. Maybe somebody in the chat, if you know, can chime in and let us know. Snake's moving forward, though. A little bruised up from these mines. How the economy's looking? Tatanka is a bit ahead on economy. Tosh being a little bit careful, getting some defenses here. I wouldn't hate to see this balloon get sold, though. I would love to see this cabin get taken, replace this balloon in the middle of the map. And that gives you a nice little spot for the snake to kind of poke to and then retreat from. But yeah, the big decisions here are going to be third base or tier 3 or both. Tosh does see the third base come down from Tatanka. Great scout from Tosh. Sees exactly what's going on. And right when Tosh leaves, the Badger Warren gets thrown down. So good timing there from Tatanka. And Tosh has plenty of money. Going to go for the boar. And these are going to be some fun comps. I don't know. Like, snakes are just so good at targeting down core units. If you can get those shots off, you can handle the micro and the really fast engagement. So I can see this engagement going either way. I'm not looking at these comps and thinking one is just straight better than the other. You know, the snakes, even the squirrels aren't bad against the badger. I mean, squirrels do a ton of damage in mass. Of course, Tatanka's got the skunks to deal with the squirrels, the pigeons to help out against the snake, and generally because pigeons in badger is the peanut butter and jelly of Tooth and Tail. Then, of course, the badger. So this might come down to a micro war. I think Tatanka is in good shape. I think Tosh might need a little more snakes. I think 2 is a little bit low. I'm not a big snake player myself, but yeah, goes to 4. This is some great defense, though, from Tosh. I'd love to see this just get a little bit pushed out further, though, with the help of this campfire. Because this defense is controlling the middle of the map. It's denying the space from Tatanka, but I think if it gets creeped forward a bit more, it could even threaten this base with Tatanka as well. And this 4th base is really where Tatanka's eco is going to get out of hand. And speaking of Tatanka's eco, I haven't really commented on it in a few moments here, but Tatanka massively ahead. Tatanka really got that 3rd base up and running very fast. And Tosh is aware of it, so I'm a little bit surprised that Tosh did not farm up his own 3rd base a little quicker. I think he was maybe worried about an attack and instead put all that money in the defense that he just sold. He is trying to creep it forward. But I'm still worried about the economic advantage here for Tatanka. I mean, he's got a bit of an army lead. It's actually not too bad. I would just love to see Tosh wrap up these other couple farms here. Maybe he's keeping them as starvation. Okay, yeah, I'd say at least one. Yeah, he's going to grab both. I think that's fine. You got this campfire here that can help you not starve. I don't know, that's another interesting thing. I'd be curious to see what better players than me think. Like, should you even play for a starvation farm? You know, like, I don't feel like the meta is that stalematey. And, like, losing this farm income for the starvation farm, which you're probably not going to need anyways. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's better to just take your farms. In this meta. Again, if we're in the balloon wall, owl metas, then yeah, starvation farms make sense. Same rate of healing in or out of the territories as studios. Oh, interesting. That's a lot of Falcons from Tatanka, and Falcons scale better than any other unit. All these snakes might just get mowed down. Tosh needs to be careful. He doesn't have a good answer to these Falcons. I mean, snakes don't do bad, I guess, but there's no pigeons here for Tosh to help him survive the burst. And Tatanka really going down on the tier 1. Oh man, I just think with all these Falcons, with the extra income, this is looking really good for Tatanka. Tosh is starting to maybe think that too, and gonna try to be a little cheeky here. Get a little bites her ass. Probably not gonna get anything out of it. But just force reaction from Tatanka. Maybe get some bit out of position. Just come in, get some decent snake tags. This Badger should go down immediately. Oh man, lots of really good snake tags on these Falcons here. Are they gonna all go down? The boar bomb happens, but so many Falcons still in the air. Tosh did a great job really spreading out those tags. And I think we're just gonna have a big army trade. These pigeons doing their best to heal through the damage, the poison. Another boar here for Tosh, but boars can't shoot up, unfortunately for Tosh here. And I mean, Mass Falcon is just, you know, it's one of the best things in the game. And Tosh not having the Falcons, not having a lot of squirrels either to really deal with that. The snakes are slowly starting to deal with these Falcons, but the pigeons here really slowing down that process. Can Tosh clean this up, though? Looks like Tatanka might have enough to come in, especially he's got a new Badger here. Gonna keep it away from the snakes and just try to seal the deal with this last expansion here. And it looks like Tatanka is gonna take this series 3-0, as this last mining base going down is the nail in the coffin here for Tosh. And might stay in a little bit longer. I mean, this is a tournament match. You know, you might as well try. But 16 farms to 0, I mean... we can just watch these Falcons and Badgers kill the snakes, and here we go. There should be the tap from Tosh. Nicely done there from Tatanka with a 3-0 victory.